The third portion of the bill, and what I believe is the most critical provision of the bill, deals with private employment. Now, we've heard a lot of debate about this, and we know beyond a shadow of a doubt what the root cause of illegal immigration is, and that's illegal employment. We know why they're coming here. They're coming here for jobs. And if we do an immigration bill, an immigration reform bill, and we don't get at private employment, it's like trying to cure cancer with an aspirin. I mean, it's a sham. We have got to get at the root cause. Now, I continue to hear a lot of rhetoric from the other side on this, and they keep talking about how this bill is going to damage our economy, it's going to be bad for jobs, it's going to damage tourism. And I want to deconstruct that a little bit. They talk a lot in code, and they talk a lot in circles, but when you get right down to it, what they're really saying is that we as a state cannot prosper economically. We depend economically. We can't go forward as a state economically without relying on those that crossed our borders illegally and came into the country. You will never convince me that that's true. I believe in our state. I believe in our state citizens. We can prosper economically. We don't have to look the other way. We don't have to settle for the status quo and just acquiesce to this notion that our state can't prosper economically without those that came here illegal, that broke the law to come to our country. Now, how are we going to get at it? What we propose to do in this bill is require private employers to enroll in the E-Verify program. It is a simple, efficient program. I've enrolled my own business in it. It takes a matter of minutes to enroll, and it adds just a few seconds to the hiring process. It is hands down the very best tool available to us to verify the eligibility of our state's workforce. It's the only tool we have candidly. I keep hearing misnomers about how it's inaccurate. 97% of every query sent to the federal government to be verified comes back in a matter of seconds as verified. For the small percentage that come back as tentative nonconformists, they're given an opportunity to appeal that finding. There's a due process function built into it. And of course, there's an opportunity for those with good enough false identification to beat the system. There's no doubt about it. But that's exactly why we drafted another provision into the bill that we kept hearing over and over again from employers is, well, we're having a hard time deciding what is a fake ID and what isn't a fake ID, what's fraudulent and what's not fraudulent. Well, what we have done is provided employers in this bill and prosecutors an additional tool to get at those that are trying to pass off fraudulent identification for the purpose of obtaining employment. Under our aggravated identity fraud statute, we're going to add a new specific theory in the law, a specific provision that allows tough new penalties to be brought to bear on those that jeopardize our employer. That you're putting an employer in a tough legal spot if they're found to be employing an illegal alien. If you, in an attempt to obtain that employment, try to pass false identification, it's going to be a good deterrent, and it's going to provide prosecutors with an important new tool. Now, I think when we're talking about private employment, I saw a story on the front page of the Atlanta Journal and Constitution today, and I think the timing of it is just perfect for this debate. It announced today that our state right now has the highest unemployment in its history, 10.4%. And now I keep hearing from folks that illegal aliens are doing jobs that citizens won't do. Well, they haven't talked to my constituents. They haven't talked to the people that are unemployed in my district that are struggling to put food on the table. That is absurd. I just met with a hotel owner last week. He told me that he owns a large hotel chain, that last year when they enrolled in E-Verify, a number of employees left, he believed, because they feared being detected as being in the country illegally. Within a matter of days, those jobs were filled by legal workers, people that are eligible to work. Don't tell me they're only doing jobs that will only be done by illegals and won't be done by citizens. I don't know about y'all, but to me, if there's one Georgia citizen, one Georgian out there that's going without a job because a person that came across our border illegally is holding it, that's one too many for me, particularly in this tough economic time. Now, that's a lot of the what about the bill. Now I want to talk about the why. I think there are many, many reasons compelling the enactment of this legislation, but I want to talk about the two most important to me. And first, that's our responsibility to our taxpayer. For the last 3 years, we have been making awful choice after awful choice in the budget. Every single service that we fund has been impacted. Our schools are drowning. Our law enforcement community is doing more with less. Our healthcare infrastructure is to the breaking point. We know statistically that it is costing our taxpayers $2.4 billion per year to fund the presence of 425,000 illegal aliens.
Gentleman's time has expired, so I'll ask you to head to the finish line quickly.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm going to close with this. You're going to make a choice in about 3 hours. And you're going to get a choice to decide, are you going to side with the status quo? Are you going to side with looking the other way while our citizens go without jobs, while our taxpayers fund benefit after benefit? Or are you going to side with the rule of law? We swore an oath to uphold the laws of this state and the U.S. Constitution and the Georgia Constitution. This bill is a representation of that oath, that we're not going to accept the status quo. We're not going to look the other way anymore. We're going to address a pressing problem, and we're going to start today. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the well.
The gentleman had questions, but his time has expired, and he did go over the limit a little bit, and I will make an adjustment in other speakers who are speaking in favor of the bill so that we keep it fair.